I love Detroit. My uncle, when I first came up here to go to school, didn't have enough funds for me to do school trips. So I came to University of Michigan sight unseen, except when I was a kid. My mother got her master's here. And my uncle picked me up from the airport and took me around Detroit. I stayed with him that night, and then brought me to school. And for the years that I was here in school, from 1976 to 1983, we would regularly go into Detroit, whether it's Greektown, whether it's Hamtramck, whether it's the Riverfront, Cobo Hall, Joe Louis Arena, whatever, for events. Detroit has a special fondness in my life, even when Sparky Anderson was fighting for a pennant back with the Tigers. So I have been affiliated with Detroit physically in mind and spirit for the majority of my life, from 1976, and personally, having done the Chrysler case, we heard a lot of the same sort of things we're hearing now. It's never going to work. In fact, some of the senior executives of the company were of the strong opinion that no one would ever buy a car from a bankrupt automaker. The reality is that company, as well as GM, as well as Ford, are going away gangbusters. They have great products. They're expanding. Market share year over year is growing. So I see Detroit, in a sense, as being an opportunity to bring that kind of growth and that kind of renaissance, excuse the pun, the Renaissance Center, to the city. If we can do this right, this is the Motor City. This is a city that gave us Motown. This is the city that during the World War II was the arsenal of democracy. Okay? This city changed the way we live. It gave us automobiles, which allowed us to commute. It gave us a new way of listening to music. It is a historical city of record in the history of this country. We have to do this. This is a great American city, and we have to get this city on the right track. Well, I hope my relationship with the people of Detroit will become a very close one in a very short time frame. I hope the people of Detroit view me as both a change agent, but also someone who can span the citizenry of Detroit. I've been reading some of the press clippings about what is soon to be my prior job as a corporate attorney at a large corporate law firm. And I hope people recognize, at core, I'm still that young kid who grew up in the tomato fields of Broward County, Florida, and spent my summers on the red clay streets of Altamont Springs at my granddaddy's church, the great Reverend Eugene Jasper Owa, as we say in the South. And that I have not lost reflection of the arc of my life to where I am now from where I came from. So being that being the reality of the matter, I hope the people of Detroit recognize I can sit in any room with anyone and empathize with where they are. That ability hopefully will inform decisions I make, or at least allow me to communicate across all strata. I would like to think of myself as having the capacity to bring Detroit together truly, in that sense, as long as we're operating in good faith. We're America. We sent people to the moon. We built the Hoover Dam. We can do anything we want to do if we operate in good faith. I've been a member of a number of progressive organizations throughout my professional career. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I participated in voter protection both for John Kerry and President Obama. Voting rights, obviously, coming from the South. My grandmother was born in 1898. She walked the Seaboard Coastline Railroad tracks every day, back and forth, rain or shine, hot or cold, to her job. And the one thing she did until she died at 85 was to vote. So in a very real sense to me, she had an 8th grade education, but in a very real sense to me, the issues of depriving people of their voting rights or representative voice resonates with me. However, we are a country of laws, not of men. The role that I'm undertaking is a creature of state statute and has been long-standing. And the concepts of reorganization, conservatorship, receivership, trusteeship have existed since good King George began granting tariffs and commissions in the colony. So while I understand there's a lot of concern and emotion behind the concept that I'm depriving people of certain rights, actually it's very consistent with both the history of the country and in specific. In this state, emergency managers laws have existed in their current iteration from 1980, which has been almost over 30 years, or from the act that I'm going to be appointed under, 1990, for almost 25 years. I would hope that people recognize that in the state, both behind Democratic governors and Republican governors, emergency managers have been appointed in 5 cities and 4 school districts. So this is, while unusual and of concern, it's very common, and it's long-standing. I'd say my top priority is, getting boots on the ground, and if you excuse the mixed metaphor, in the saddle, and get to the data. I've obviously been trying to get briefed as best I can on sort of the status, and I've been drinking through a fire hose with a number of different information, but I'd really like to verify the information impressions I have. There are some issues, principally due with delivering services to the consumers and customers of the city, the citizens, that I'd like to get to, and whether that's lighting, enhance public safety and security, enhance EMT response times, things along those lines. That frankly would be my first priority. Number one, is there a financial emergency? Everyone says yes, even the people who hate to admit it. Number two, should something be done about it? Everyone says yes. So the third prong of the issue is, what are we going to do about it? Or I'm the conduit, I am the tool to do something about it. So for the people of Detroit, what they should expect is, I'm going to try to apply, the governor says relentless positive action. I just say I'm going to work through the data. I'm going to try to make reasoned, rational decisions based upon the facts, based upon the need and the current realities on the ground, which everyone admits and agrees needs to have something done about it. And if I can do that, people of Detroit should expect reasoned, fact-based decision-making based on the data. I will try to be empathetic to the real-world consequences of any decision I make. That's my goal. But the decisions are going to be driven by externalities and realities that exist and everybody agrees to.